This video is about a new Python type called a dictionary, or dict, D-I-C-T for short. We're going to learn what a dictionary is for and how to use it. So to motivate this, let's think of the problem of representing a phone book in Python. So a phone book is an association between a list of names, or a set of names, and a set of phone numbers. Like, for example, it might associate the name UCL Security with the phone number 222, because that's the phone number you have to call to get UCL Security. So what we really want is some kind of function. We want a function whose inputs are names, perhaps represented as strings, and whose outputs are the phone numbers corresponding to those names. And that's what a Python dictionary lets you represent. It lets you represent a kind of mathematical function. So if you have a Python dictionary D, then the inputs to that function are referred to as keys in Python. And if you have a key k, then the output of the function corresponding to the key k is called the value, and you access it by doing d square brackets k, just like you access like the 0th element of a list, for example. So let's create some Python dictionaries. On line 1 here, I create an empty dictionary called D. An empty dictionary is created using a pair of curly braces with nothing between them. On the other hand, on line 2 here, I create a dictionary called E, which does have some keys and values in it. So this syntax creates a dictionary whose name is E and has two keys, the string A and the string B, and the value associated to the key A is 1, and the value associated to the key B is 2. So when I run that, I've created those two dictionaries, and now what I'm going to do is get the value associated to one of the keys in the dictionary E. So the string A is one of the keys in the dictionary E, and if I run this code cell, what I've got is E square brackets and then the string A, and what that will give me is the value associated to the key, which is the string A. So that value is 1. When I run it, I'll get 1. You can create entries in a Python dictionary using similar syntax to how you modify an element in a Python list, that is, using square brackets and a single equals sign. So at the moment, our dictionary D is empty. If I want to assign the value consisting of the string 222 to the key consisting of the string UCL Security, I do it by putting D and then square brackets and then my key and then an equal sign and then the string which I want for my value. So when I run this, it won't display anything, but now D contains a key UCL Security which corresponds to the value 222. So if I want to retrieve the value for that key, I want to get the value that corresponds to the key, which is the string UCL Security. I do that just by saying D and then square brackets and then my key and then running this, and you can see it will now give me the string 222, which I assigned as the value corresponding to that key. On the other hand, if you try and get a value for a key which hasn't been put into your dictionary, you'll get an error. So let's just print out the dictionary D. In this code cell, I'm going to print out D so you can see everything that's in the dictionary D. When I run it, you'll see it just contains one item, and that is that there is a single key UCL Security and a single value 222 for that key. So if I try and use a key which doesn't exist in the dictionary, so here you can see I've made a mistake. I've typed lowercase UCL and lowercase s for security, whereas the true key had a capital UCL and a capital S for security. So when I try and run this, I'll get an error. It tells me there is a key error, and what it means is there is no value for that key yet. So if you want to have that as a key, you have to assign it. Now there is a restriction on the types of keys in Python. Values can be absolutely anything at all. So you don't have to even associate a string to a string. You can associate anything to a string or anything to anything. In fact, the values can be any Python object at all, but keys have to be what is called hashable types. Now the definition of a hashable type is not something that you need to worry about for Math 0011, but here are some guidelines. So strings, numeric types like integers or floating point numbers, and tuples whose elements are strings or numeric types, those things can be used as keys. But mutable built-in types like lists or dictionary themselves cannot be used as dictionary keys. Let's see this in action. So here I'm creating a key in my dictionary D, which is a tuple 1, 2. That's absolutely fine. And the value associated to that tuple is a list 3, 4. Again, values can be absolutely anything, and tuples consisting of numbers are fine to have as keys. This is okay. It will not cause any errors. But if I go to the next, if I go to my next code cell here, I've tried to use a list as a dictionary key. That is illegal. You cannot do it, and this is going to give me an error when I do that. So the error here says unhashable type list, and the problem is that you're not allowed to use lists or other mutable types as dictionary keys. This is a restriction which comes from the way which Python dictionaries are implemented internally. So just as an aside, if you've done some programming in other languages, for example, if you've used Java or C++, then you'll probably be familiar with a dictionary type under a different name. For example, dictionaries in Java are referred to as maps or hash maps. You can delete dictionary keys once you've created them. So you can do that using the keyword del, D-E-L. So if you want to get rid of our key UCL security, then you can do that using del and then D square brackets UCL security. So you do del and then you specify the thing that you want to delete. When I run this, that key no longer exists in our dictionary. So if I try to get it, I'll get an error because the key UCL security no longer exists. We deleted it in the previous code cell. So del is what you need to use if you want to get rid of something from your dictionary. Okay, let's put it back in. So if I do this, now I've put this key value pair back into my dictionary. If you want to get the list of keys in the dictionary, so just the keys, actually it's not a list, it's a collection of a special kind. So if you want to get the collection of keys in your dictionary, you can do that with d.keys. So that notation, that syntax is similar to the syntax we've seen for working with lists when, for example, we appended to a list. But that will get you the collection of keys in a dictionary. So here d.keys would be a special thing called a dict keys, which is a bit like a list. And it gives you the list of keys which are in the dictionary D. And you can actually use this, for example, to do for loops. So if you want to do something for each key in a dictionary, for example, if you just wanted to print out all the keys in a dictionary, you could do a for loop where you said for k in d.keys. And what that would do is execute the indented code following line 1 for each key k in your dictionary. So I've just got a print statement there, and I've got 2 keys in my dictionary, the tuple 1, 2 and the string UCL security. When I run this, it's just going to print out those 2 keys. So you see the 2 keys appear printed out when I run that code. You can also check whether a dictionary contains a particular key, right? So this checks for keys, not values, but keys. And you do that with in. So if you want to know if UCL security, in quotes, is a key in D, then you can use the string UCL security, then the keyword in, and then D. And this is going to give me the value true because that is a key in my dictionary D. So when I run it, it prints out the key true. On the other hand, the string ABC is not a key in my dictionary, so this will give me the value false. Okay, so those are the basic functions that you need to work with Python dictionaries.